I'm Jordan Lulich, and this is the Lulich Corner, and today I get the pleasure of sitting down with Mayor John Cotugno from the City of Vero Beach. John, thank you so much for taking the time to come in, talk about the different projects and plans going on in the City of Vero Beach, and I'm super excited for today's conversation, so thank you.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
So today, the main conversation we're going to focus on is all the different projects and plans little City of Vero Beach has going on. I think it's incredible. So maybe you could just list out the different projects that the City of Vero Beach is managing right now.
Sure. I would be happy to do that. I kind of call it the little city that could. Like Thomas the Tank.
Yep.
So, for a city our size, less than 17,000 people here in Indian River County, we have several major projects. The first one, of course, the most famous one is the Three Corners project.
That's right.
Where our old power plant used to be.
Yep.
And on the other side is where our wastewater treatment plant currently resides. So what we're going to be doing there is that plant is going to be moving, the wastewater treatment plant is moving to around our airport area. Mm-hmm. And that new water reclamation plant, as it is now called, will be happening within shovel-ready about the first quarter of 2025. And then we will, because that segues into what we have to do with Three Corners, because you don't have Three Corners, you have that's one of the corners.
So you free it up, right? Yeah, and that's a big project, that water project. That
will be about 120 to 150 million project.
Wow.
We've already received about 26 million in grants, but right now that's still around the budgetary figure for that. So then we get into Three Corners. Three Corners, as you know, we're going to restart the RFP process because of what happened recently,
right?
With the person that had been selected was disqualified because of violation of the RFP terms and conditions. Yeah, the rules. Thank you. So that's going to be taking place shortly. Now, that, depending on who you look at, that's north of $200 and maybe $300 million, depending on who you look at, who you talk to.
Yeah.
So we have that, have that project going.
And so you're restarting the request for proposals. So essentially you're asking developers to again submit different proposals on how they want to develop and how they want to reutilize that Three Corners property there.
Absolutely correct.
Right on, it's 17th Street and
17th and Indian River Boulevard, right at the bridge.
Yeah.
Right at the Alma-Leroy Bridge.
Beautiful property.
It's gorgeous. It's really, that project is going to be probably the largest development project on the entire east coast of Florida, never mind just here on the Treasure Coast. When you look at the dollar total, and it's a prime piece of property on the lagoon. So we're looking, and right now we're determining whether we want to do an accelerated RFP process, or we want to go through the similar RFP process we had previously established. So that's in discussion with staff and city council.
Do you think, because you've seen some proposals and you've seen some plans for the property, do you think that the current building on that property is going to be repurposed, or do you think that most likely it's not feasible to utilize that existing structure, in a development of the property?
Well, the Big Blue is, as people euphemistically call it.
Yep.
So Big Blue, all the proposals had Big Blue being repurposed.
All of them did.
Okay. Now, the devil is always in the details. So the detail is, yes, they all have it repurposed in various ways, shape, or form. They molded into and set, folded into their plans. But the key is going to be, when you get into the building, is it really going to be able to be salvaged? Right. Most people think it can be, under the right set of circumstances, but it's really going to happen once you get into the final negotiations of the contract. You pick your developer, he starts to peel back the onion and find out whether that building is structurally sound enough to be used as they envision it.
And so is it going to be a public-private partnership in developing that property, or is the city going to actually be selling the property to a developer?
What restricted this property, and we have in some instances, difficult RFP assumptions. Number one, there's no residential on this property. It's only going to be strictly hospitality, entertainment of sorts, and it's going to be a kind of a public meeting space. So that's what our criteria was. Everything revolves around that. It revolves around making it a meeting place for our community.
Yeah.
And making it a place where people can come and want to enjoy themselves and walk along the lagoon. We'll also have a fishing pier, that type of thing. Maybe pull in your boat and stop it off one of the restaurants, or maybe even you're staying at the hotel, which is being proposed. That's fine. But we also want to make it for the community. So if somebody in the area just wants to come with their family and enjoy the open spaces, they can enjoy it and not have to spend any money.
Anything.
Yes.
So like a public park or a public it's a public place. Yeah.
I would call it kind of a public gathering place.
Yeah.
Gathering spot for
similar to like City Walk.
Yeah. It could be like a city kind of a city walk kind of thing
on a smaller scale.
on a much smaller, on a much smaller scale, kind of conducive to our area and what we care about.
Yeah. So that's the Three Corners project, but I know there's still other projects that the city of Vero Beach is currently managing, right?
A new one, which is in master plan phases now, is for a downtown, bringing it to the next level. What is needed for our downtown area, which is very historic, revitalize sometimes has a bad connotation to it, but it really kind of bring it to the next level. To kind of look at it from the standpoint of the core part of our downtown area, which runs on 14th Avenue from about 21st to around 19th. What can we do in that area, which is encompasses around 50 acres? What can we do to promote bringing it to the next level? And with some mixed use development there, bringing some housing down there, bringing a younger demographic, because that's a type of demographic kind of likes that urban vibe to it.
Sure.
I hate that word vibe, but use the word vibe. That
ambiance, right?
Thank you. Environment, that urban environment.
Yeah.
And that type of thing is what we're going to try to promote down there. It's totally different from what we're going to be doing at Three Corners.
Yeah.
People to try to live and work and play there. And a younger demographic is more conducive to that kind of environment where we can have smaller dwelling units, which will attract a younger person, a younger demographic because of cost. And as we know, cost in our county in general, it's from a housing standpoint, is skyrocketing. To get a one-bedroom apartment
very expensive.
Is very expensive.
Yeah, costs have increased a lot. So is that essentially has the vision been set to that, to repurposing or revitalizing the downtown area to a place where people can live, work, and play, where it's a more younger crowd? I guess one of the challenges is kind of like a bystander who's been observing this is how do you because the city of the downtown area in the city of Vero Beach is dominantly owned, if not almost completely owned, by private individuals or private corporations. Right. So how do you foster that public-private partnership
exactly
in order to achieve this vision that the city's setting, because they're people's properties that they own?
Exactly. And it's always it's the carrot and stick, but here it's a carrot. The stick is not really there from that standpoint, but you have to promote it. First of all, you give them a plan. This is how we envision downtown to look. And this is how we would like you to participate. But again, you've got either shop owners or entrepreneurs, landlords or entrepreneurs.
Right.
Many of the landlords have been there for decades, generations, in fact.
Yeah.
How do you incentivize them to do that? Now, some of them won't be incentivized. Some of them will say, "No, I've had my run, but I wouldn't mind selling to someone who wants to take the vision to the next step." But they're entitled to their profit. They were there. They were pioneers. They established themselves. The city has progressed to a certain point. And the way to do that is to encourage this kind of development is to increase density. And we have a very strict density and height code. Mm-hmm. Now, we're not talking about height. That's sacrosanct in Vero Beach. Okay. So height will not be touched. But the density in our part of that historic part of downtown, of that core, is incorporated in our charter. So unlike other locations, we can't change the density factor just by planning and zoning meetings. We have to have a charter referendum. So
that goes on the ballot.
That goes on the ballot.
Yeah.
So what happens here is you have people who have had a run up in their property values who may want to develop or may want to cash out at this point in time and give it to someone who has a vision. And that's fine. But the person coming in who wants to do developing has to have an incentive. And many of the properties downtown now, take for instance, Pocahontas apartment building.
Yeah.
If you look at that building and how it is built and the number of units that are in that building, that actually has 76 units per acre.
Wow.
Now, the downtown zoning is actually only 17 units per acre because it was built at a different time. If you look at the theater,
Grandfathered in.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you look at the theater building, that I believe has something like 56 units based on how it's built and how it's built out. But again, so for someone to come in and buy that building, and although they wouldn't, those are more historic buildings, but other buildings in the area which are in the same categories,
Yeah.
like the old Muse Motel building closer to the 19th, that I believe is somewhere in the 50 something units per acre. But if you were to tear it down, because that needs repair, and to rebuild, you'd be into the new
17 per acre.
and doesn't make financial sense for you to do that.
No.
So that's what we're trying to do. Get incentivize the entrepreneur and developer who wants to come in and do something with the property.
Make it open for business where there's more people who can be housed
multiple
down there.
use. Put some units downtown, and then kind of bring it to the next level. Attract that younger demographic who doesn't mind. Does it like older people, and I can say that because I'm an older person who fear the night or don't mind a little noise. Or don't mind that kind of environment.
And in your studies and in your assessments, you don't think that parking would become a problem in increasing the density downtown?
When we looked at it, and currently DPZ is a planning firm that we had come in and do the plan, there's plenty of parking spaces downtown if people don't mind walking a block or two. But the courthouse parking
One block, John?
Couple of blocks. Yeah, I know, one block. I know. Sorry, I was getting. Yes. No.
Yeah, a couple of blocks is
It's amazing. Like we'll go to a mall and park way out and walk out. To like go down on PGA in the gardens and walk long distance to get to the into the mall. But when we go downtown, we want to physically park right in front of our location, and it's really against the laws of physics to everybody to be able to park right in front of.
Sure. So there's parking there. We just need to better promote it.
Exactly. I mean, promote signage. I lived in Vero Beach for 2 years before I found out that across the street from Judson's is a municipal parking lot, a large one. I didn't even know that was. I didn't know. Not that I didn't know it was there. I didn't know it was available.
Yeah, you didn't know it was accessible.
Yeah.
So that's the downtown master plan, and then you've also got the boardwalk at Humeston Park.
Yes, the rebuilding of the boardwalk. As you know, it was severely damaged. One of the storms last year, or the year before, FEMA has finally decided that they cannot reimburse us for rebuild because it was past its useful life. Mm. And at the last city council meeting, it was a special call city council meeting. We voted 5-0 to replace it, and we're going to do the environmentally correct choice, and that is instead of trying to rebuild a concrete boardwalk or replace it with a boardwalk similar that we have at Con Beach, kind of a wooden trick kind of boardwalk, we are going to put a concrete path at or behind the natural erosion line of the dune, which will promote dune refurbishment. Okay. Which will then enhance our favorite nesting turtles, sea turtle nesting areas. Okay. And we're going to move that behind or at the natural erosion line, put in a concrete path, have multiple dune walkovers with benches for people to sit down, and also pavilion, similar that we have at JC Park, so people can sit and enjoy the view of the ocean. And ironically, the environmentally correct solution was the least expensive solution.
That's a win-win.
We think so. Okay. I mean, it was we're talking at the first, to replace it, it's a $1.9 million investment. The solution we're going to go with is $700,000, and with the small reimbursements we're getting from FEMA for some other costs for that previous boardwalk, it's probably going to net the city less than $500,000. Wow! So it's a win-win. It's a win-win for the city.
And how long will it take to complete that project?
2 years.
Okay.
And it's because we only can do construction outside the nesting turtle season.
Okay. That's right. Yeah, so you've only got, what, a
roughly
small window.
Small window to do your construction.
And then the last, there's one more project that you have, right, for the marina.
The marina refurbishment. That should get things finalized. If you go out there now, you'll see a crane in the water as we're starting to get the south side docks refurbished. The storage building is into its final phases for design, and we'll go in front of City Council for final resolution of the design. We're going ahead with it, permitting, through Army Corps, Florida, environmental is ongoing, and that should be taking place. So you'll see more progress on that happening this summer.
Okay. Is there any plans? I believe that was an old insurance building there that the city of Vero Beach acquired, right?
That building, that's going to be torn down.
It's going to be torn down. What's going to go there?
Oh, good question. That's actually, I should emphasize that too. What we're doing is now we have to, we have to address stormwater. We're actually going to, underneath that building is going to be a stormwater retention pond. It's going to be subterranean to filter out all the stormwater that'll come from the site, and essentially be a combination of some vegetation, trees, and our parking lot.
That's good to know. Well, John, we are out of time. We appreciate you for coming on. If people want to reach out to you, if they have questions, if they have feedback for you, how can people find you?
They can contact me. You can go on the city website. You can find my email, or you can you can also contact me directly, because I'm always willing to talk to people at my mobile number, which I'll give, which is 772-925-5898.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for listening in. I'm Jordan Lulich, and this is the Lulich Corner. We'll see you next time.